We are now going to be looking at leased assets. Now, you need to make sure that you see that there's a difference between the treatment for a lessee and a lessor. Obviously, the lease payments will be income if you're a lessor, and if you're a lessee, it's an expense. But please be aware of the different sections that are applicable. So we start with the lessee, which is the more common one for you to see, and it's very, very, very important in exams as well. All right, so what I want you to understand is usually three potential things that you can see when there's a lessee. So understand now, this is where I go to some company and I lease a property from them, a piece of land from them, or land of a building from them. Now, I will pay rent to them, so per month I have to pay 100,000 rands. That we claim under the general deduction formula. So I'm going to make the comment here, the most important for you here is claim when used in production of income. So be very careful, guys. What they sometimes do in a question is they'll tell you, here's a piece of land, empty piece of land. X Limited leases this land, and then the contract says the following, and I'm going to now build up to it. You'll see what I mean with this. The contract then says, okay, you need to pay a lease premium. So the lease premium is, let's say this piece of land is sought after. It's a piece of property in Sandton, and there's not a lot of property around it. X Limited really wants to lease that. The owner of this can say, listen, you need to pay me a premium. You need to pay me an extra 100,000 rands, let's say, up front, just for you to lease that, right? You'll pay that amount. We'll see how that works. And then the owner says, okay, you need to do a leasehold improvement here. So because this is an empty piece of land, I want you to go and build a factory on this if you want to lease it. Now, I know a lot of times, guys, if you just listen to this as a student and you haven't worked with this and you haven't done it, this seems weird. Why would you lease a piece of land and then build something on it? But obviously, X Limited might lease this for a long time. X Limited it might be so important for them to have this location to build it, and there's also sorts of compensation and things built into it. But please understand, X Limited is told you need to pay rent of 50,000 rands a month, you need to pay a lease premium of 100,000 rands, and you need to build a factory on there, and that factory will cost you R1,000,000 rands. Now, what I want you to understand is, what my comment here is about claim it when it's used in the production of income. That's applicable to all of these. Is this piece of land, when it was just empty, if you're not using it, you can't claim anything. So you might need to consider pre-trade expenditure, sure, but you can't claim any deduction. If so, for example, let's say you've got a December year end, and you released this on the 1st of Jan, you entered into the agreement, you built this factory, and the factory was completed on the 1st of August. So August, September, October, November, December you used it. So August to December is 5 months. Then you can only claim the rent for 5 months because you only used it in the production of income for 5 months. So you'll have to read the question carefully. Sometimes they'll tell you that X Limited is leasing this piece of land with a factory on it, right? So then it means you're already claiming it, but they still need to build things. That's fine as long as you are using it at the time when you are claiming it, or for the period that you are claiming it. So we're going to look at how to claim these different ones. So rent, easiest, general deduction formula. Section 11F, the lease premium. So this is where you have to pay that premium amount. It is calculated as follows. Total lease premium divided by the total years you are entitled to use or occupy the property. Now guys, in a question they'll tell you, you enter into the agreement and it is for a period of 10 years, but you have an option to extend it at the end of those 10 years for an extra 5 years. If they tell you something like that in the question, you must use the 15 years as the total, unless they specifically tell you the company knows they'll only use it for 10 years. So you will always take extensions into account. You cannot do this over a period of more than 25 years. So if the lease is for a period of 30 years, you will limit this to 25 years. But anything less than 25, you will use the actual amount. And then you apportion it for months over 12, used in the production of income. So here it is in the Act. So remember, guys, this is section 11. So section 11 started with a preamble. that said when carrying on a trade, you may deduct the following: an allowance in respect of a premium or consideration paid for the right of use of occupation of land or buildings in the production of income, right? Or for using things like a patent or a trademark or design, right? Any of those, or for using a film. So anything where you're leasing something and you're paying a premium. Most important though, land and buildings. Then you can get an allowance, provided that this allowance shall not exceed for 1 year the portion of the amount of the premium as is the equal to the said amount divided by the number of years, or 1/25, whichever is the greatest. So what they say you should do is they say you should do the calculation. Let's say you can rent it for 30 years. They say you must do the following. You must say premium divided by 30, or premium divided by 25, whichever one is the greatest. In this case, the 25 will be the greatest, which means that if it's more than 25 years, 25-year wins. But let's say it was for 3 years only. So premium divided by 3 or premium divided by 25, then it will win. So that is where our rule comes from, where we say it is cannot exceed 25 years. And you're fine to just show this calculation, guys. It is acceptable. Please note that. Right, so they tell you now the rental period. The taxpayer is entitled to such an occupation. Right? The option to extend or renew it shall be deemed to be the probable duration. So what they're basically trying to tell you here is, if you have this situation where you can rent it for an initial period of 10 years and then have an additional period, that 15 years will be the probable duration unless you can prove otherwise. That's what they're talking about. Right. And then they just tell you the provisions of this paragraph shall not apply. So in other words, you may not claim a deduction if the premium paid do not constitute income for the person to whom it is paid. So what they're trying to say here is, if I'm leasing it from you, you must include that amount in your income. Otherwise, I cannot claim this as a deduction. So in other words, if you do not include it in your income, I cannot claim this as a deduction. Now, if you remember the gross income definition, paragraph G says to you, you must always include it. So that means you will always include it. But when will you not include it? Be careful if the lessor is not a registered taxpayer, is not subject to tax. So for example, if you are leasing from the government. If you're leasing from the government, then it will not be included in the income. You can't claim this as a deduction. Right. I have here some situations if it's used for electronic communications in territorial waters. These are for the cables running next to the continent, like Seacom and so forth, but not too common to see. Then the leasehold improvements. So this is now where they say you must build a factory, and the factory must cost at least R1 million, or not at least R1 million. The factory must cost R1 million, and then you go and the actual cost for this is 1.2. Right. So the first thing is, because you have to do this, build a factory, you can get this deduction. Now, the first thing I want you to see is you must use the lower of the contract amount, million, or the actual expenditure, 1.2. So you'll use the lower of the 2 million. Then you must calculate this over the period remaining after the leasehold improvement has been completed. So they'll say to you, the lease is for a period of 20 years. You entered this on the 1st of Jan, and it took you until, let's say, 31 July to build. So Jan, February, March, April, May, June, July. So it took you 7 months to build this place. What they then say is, that means your lease, how much is remaining of it? So 20 years minus 7 months equals 19 years and 5 months. So you must calculate this over 19 years and 5 months. So how will you do that, guys? You use the lower of the two, 1 million, right, divided by, right, is it 19.5? If you did think that, you should go and take a hard look in the mirror, guys. There's 12 months in a year. So 5 divided by 12 is 0.41667. So you will do this over 19 years, 0.416667. So 1 million divided by 19.41667 times, and how many months did you use it? So we're assuming you then used it from August until December. So August, September, October, November, December. So 5 over 12. So that's the one way of doing it, guys, by converting those years into a decimal. The other way of doing it, and you need to find what works best for you, is to say the total period of this lease was 20 years times 12, so 240 months, less the period it took to build it, which is this 1 Jan to 31 July, so 7 months. That leaves us with 233 months. So you can then say 1 million divided by 233 times 5. Gives us 21459. And 1 million divided by 19.4166666 times 5 over 12 gives us 21.459. You can use either one of these methods, guys. My recommendation, if you're not good with those decimals, use this method. It's a bit longer, definitely gets you the results though. You don't multiply it there by 5 over 12 because you are already looking at months there. So here it's just an act. You can claim an allowance actually incurred in pursuance of an obligation, so you must be obligated to do this to effect improvements on land and buildings, provided that the aggregate of the allowances shall not exceed the amount stipulated in the agreement. So that is where this rule comes from, this lower of contract or actual expenditure. Right? And shall not exceed for any 1 year such portion of the aggregate of the allowances under this paragraph as is equal to the said aggregate divided by the number of years. Make sure you see, calculated from the date on which the improvements are completed, but not more than 25 years. So that's what they say here. That paragraph there tells you to do this whole big calculation here. That's what I say, over the period remaining after it's been completed. Right, then they tell you if you have an option to extend the lease, or if you can have it for an indefinite period, so they mean basically for ever and always, the commissioner will use the probable duration. So what they're trying to say here is, if I enter into a lease agreement where I say I can now forever and always lease it, then the commissioner will say, okay, we're going to assume that's 50 years or 100 years, whatever the case may be. That's what they will do. Or what they're talking here about the extension, that's again the concept if the initial one said you can do it for 10 years, but then you can extend it for a further 5 years if you want. That 15 years, they say use the 15 years. Unless again, they tell you clearly in the question it's not going to use that way. Right, the aggregate of the allowances under this paragraph shall not exceed the cost. That's fine. They tell you this section shall not apply if the value of the improvements does not constitute income for the person who has the right to receive it. So basically there we go, guys. The person receiving the money must include an income. Right, and then they tell you if for some reason the lease comes to an end and you have not yet claimed everything, then you can claim everything that remains at that point in time. Now, in this example I used, guys, I said the contract says pay $1 million, but you spend 1.2 million. Please just note, if you then use this as a factory, you can claim on that excess amount You spend 1.2 million rands. You should have only spent a million rands, so there's 200,000 rands. On that, you can claim your Section 13 factory allowance. And that is Section 11G. Then guys, the lessor, so this is now the person who's the owner of the property, the person who's receiving it. They will receive rent, that will be gross income for them. The lease premium will be gross income for them as well, so you just include it. And then the leasehold improvement, it is gross income. So here we are now said, build a factory for R1 million. That R1 million over there is gross income. But then there's an allowance in Section 11H. Sorry, not an allowance, an exemption. Now guys, they've told you in the example analysis, they'll tell you what the Section 11H allowance is. I'm not going to go into the detail of it, but understand the logic here. This lease is for 20 years. I'm the owner of the property, you leasing it from me. I tell you, you must build a factory. You now build a factory in year 1. I must be taxed on it in terms of paragraph H of the gross income definition, right? But what's the problem for me? I don't have the factory. You have the factory. You build it, but I'm getting taxed on R1 million. So how am I going to do that? I'm not getting money for it, and I can only use it in 20 years' time when you're done. So what's going to happen? That's why they give us this exemption, to stop that cash flow issue. This exemption basically is calculated. I'm not going to go into the detail, but what it does is it basically ensures that that R1 million over there is discounted to its present value using an interest rate of 6%. Right, but they will just tell you in the exam what that 300,000 rands is. So please just use that. Then we have Section 12N. Now guys, this is the section that applies if you lease from the government. Now guys, if you're leasing something from someone, you may get this leasehold improvements deduction and lease premium deduction. Right? You might get all of these deductions. However, if you're leasing it from the government, they will treat you as if you are the owner. So that means if you build a factory, you can claim the factory allowance. If you build an office building, you can claim an office building allowance. So this is where they tell you, they say, if a taxpayer holds the right to occupy a land or building, and it's in terms of a public-private partnership with the government of the Republic, right? And you incur an expense to look at this, improve it. And you use that land to improve in the production of income. Then they tell you the taxpayer must, so that's the lessee, so the taxpayer here, so this is the lessee, must for the purpose of any deduction in terms of section, the relevant ones to use Section 12C, so manufacturing assets, Section 13, factory buildings, Section 13 Quinn office buildings, Section 13.6 residential accommodation. They say for those purposes, you must be deemed to be the owner of the improvement. So, if X Limited leases land from the government and they now improve by building a factory of R1 million, usually you would get Section 11G, which is what we just studied, but not if it's from the government. Then you will get R1 million times 5%, which is the Section 13 allowance. So basically, you are just treated as if you're the owner, even though you're only leasing it from the government.